are you able to still able to practice everything at your house, right?
Yeah, I got a drum set at the house. I live with my mom, so she ain't gonna want to hear that all day. But I gotta make it work.
I know. I was thinking back. I was telling my mom and my dad about how when I had that saxophone, and you remember those little recorder things, you know?
Yeah, I remember. I used to have one of those. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Every time we had, something going on, I'm like, oh man, I got to buy this recorder. I got to buy this, blah blah blah. And my dad was like, you got soprano, alto, tenor. He was like, man, next time you need to record it, so you just need to start putting them together because we keep buying all these recorders for you. But
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I'm glad that you're able to still practice during this time because this is definitely like it's a strange time we're in right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on, a lot to digest, a lot of uncertainty, and only
Yeah.
certain we have right now, man. We just, we got our instruments, we got our music,
Yep, and our creativity.
and our creativity, man. So are you writing it all, or you just sticking to practicing?
I'm just sticking to practicing. I hear stuff in my head, but I gotta kind of develop the theory, the process to write
Hmm.
it. So I don't really know how, but I listen and hear stuff.
Definitely. So are you working on your keys, your keyboard still?
Yeah, I'm working on keys.
Okay. I know the answer before I ask. Are you working on those are you working on those like those shell voices that we went over about the blues, the 3 and the 7, the 7/3 and all of that?
You know the answer already.
I already know the answer. I know.
You know the answer already.
I know. But we can always go back and revisit that because I definitely
Oh yeah,
wanna, get you we definitely need to get that rolling because of next year, about your situation with school and everything, and
yeah,
we still haven't heard anything back about school, so we're just gonna, just play it by ear and everything.
yeah.
So, you know, you got some questions for me?
Yeah, I got some questions. I want to know like how. My first question. I got a lot of questions for you, so
Okay.
get comfortable. Get
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah. I'm ready, man.
So I want to know how old were you when you first started playing sax?
Let me see. I was 11.
11.
Yeah, I was 11 when I first started playing saxophone. But before that, I started playing, recorder, the thing we talked about. And so
Yeah.
if I don't know if you play any recorder saxophone now, but it's just the fingers are so close together that, when I started playing and, I just developed an interest in it. And I had a teacher named Mr. Guy Buford, he's still teaching right now in Houston, Texas. And he was our teacher at the time. And he kind of encouraged me to go out and do some auditions for different things. So I auditioned for a performer in our school on the recorder. And my teacher at the time, Dr. Perry Combs, told me that he said, well, since, recorder and saxophone are so close together, we'll just flip you over to saxophone. So it's just like, it's pretty much the same fingerings, almost, like the skeleton, just the basic fingers.
Yeah.
And so, I just kind of went from there, man. And it's just, it, we all have those teachers that kind of spark, that ignite that fire in you. We kind of growing up, and Mr. Buford was definitely the first teacher I had to do that. Because I mean, he took the time out, man. He made the time. I don't even know how he had a social life because he was always doing stuff for us. Like I mean, we would
Yeah.
after school, he would load us all up, on this truck, he had like kind of shut us. So he's pretty much like our teacher. Then he would like give us transportation home afterwards. But yeah, he definitely cared, man. And he's still doing big things, man. He's still like all the students right now, man. Everybody's just like we owe him a lot. Like if it wasn't for Mr. Buford, like we would not have met.
Yeah. Yeah.
We wouldn't have met because it's like the path I took. It's like I did this, which led me to here. But I feel like he was responsible for kind of like igniting that fire, which he did like a lot of students growing up, man. It's interesting. Like if you talk to people, how you say, who's the first person that really just pulled it out of you? So I was like these interesting stories about that, and teachers that that care a lot. He was definitely one of them. He still cares. And I mean, Dr. Perry, like I mean, I can just go down a list of people, the past and everything that kind of led me to where. But to answer, yeah, I was 11 when I first started playing saxophone, and I went to a
Yeah.
performing arts school, which hopefully, knock on wood, you know, we'll see how that goes next year for you, you know?
Yeah. I hope
Yeah,
it go well.
it will. It'll go well, man. I mean, my advice is just to, you know, definitely take full advantage of everything, like your time there, because you don't have very long. You have like 1 year, you know. But this will give you the opportunity to be around students who take it just as serious as you take it, you know, and kind of, yeah, definitely, you know, take advantage, man. All of their instructors there, you know, I know them all, and they're amazing people. Don't hesitate to ask questions because they'll answer for you. And if they don't know the answer, they're going to get it for you, like probably within that day. You know, you just have this wide vast of knowledge there. You know, you can always come back and ask me or your other teachers. We'll still be around, you know. So that's definitely not going to disappear, you know.
Yeah. So my second question is um when you were growing up, you know, listening to music, you know, as the more you listen, the more you start to hear. So like when you was listening, I remember what was the name of that trombone player song that we was with? It's called Shrimp Tales, right?
Man, you
Yeah,
know, I gotta send you that. I keep forgetting because it's
yeah.
like, yeah, man. I
What's the
mean,
trombone player name?
his name is Tom Garling,
Tom
Garling.
Garland. Yeah, that's
Tom
his name.
Garling. Yeah, man. I was thought about you. I meant to. I should. When we get off the phone, I'll send you. You know, Shrimp Tales.
All right.
I'll screen record it because I know. You know, I don't know if I can send MP3 to you, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just. I'm sorry. What was your question though?
My question was when you were listening, like what like type of genres were you listening to that made you get the sound that you got today? Like, were you listening to jazz, hip hop, R&B? Like, what what was you listening to?
Man, I feel I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, I don't know if you've been there before, but it's
Yeah, I've been
just
there.
okay. Yeah, man. Back in the late '80s and early '90s, man, a lot of people were just not listening to rock and roll. I mean, I checked it all out. You know, I checked out rock and roll. I checked out a lot of Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden, and I checked out uh, some country. You know, actually, I'm lying. The only country music I've ever checked out was Kev Mo. Kev Mo is like my guy. You should check him out. Hip hop, man, like the Public Enemy, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, and just man, it was just amazing listening. Fat Joe and you heard this guy called Twister. You remember him?
Yeah, I heard of him. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Twister was just he was just just that syncopation he would do because it wasn't just like straight through. It was just he utilized all the different rhythms and they use their voices as instruments, man. I think all of that contributes like the way that I hear things now. Just listen to those harmonies, and some of those rock and roll guys would do those odd meter things. I mean, back then I didn't know what odd meter stuff was. I was like, oh, okay, this part's just a little shorter than this part. Okay, I can dig it though. But man, growing up, like listening to Bjork and Neta Tropical Jazz Band, I feel like I really didn't have a lot of people that listen to the same stuff I listen to. But I still, just still push for it. I still listen to, all the rock and roll. I'm sorry, the rap and everything, man. But back in the day, they even had, I don't know if you have cable, but you watch any MTV?
Yeah, I watch MTV. I watch all the old shows
Yeah,
on
yeah.
MTV.
Check this out. MTV used to play music videos, believe it or not.
I
Like,
think they still do in the morning. In
oh,
the
really?
morning, I think they still do. Yeah,
Okay,
early in the
okay.
morning.
I mean, they would play it all day long, though. Like, it was just like nonstop, man. Music all day long because it's music television. And I know they
Yeah.
go to different reality shows and even BET, man. BET will have this show called Rap City or Rap in the Basement. I think it was called Rap City. You ever heard of it?
Yep.
Which,
I
yeah,
heard it.
forgot the guy's name. Yeah, all of this stuff, man. Growing up, just kind of I think shaped my ears. And even when I started learning harmony on the piano, because it starts with play a C, you play a C E, then C E F. They play all those together. See what that sounds like. C E G A. Hear what that sounds. So you just like what you're doing. Experimenting on piano and just kind of stretching your ears. And I feel like the more theory you have on your belt, the more you understand and the more things you'll be able to hear. You just kind of have this appreciation for different things that you wouldn't normally have because there are definitely things I think that musicians are more in tune to listen to and checking out than let's say somebody who's not a musician. And it's just because of like, it's a combination of like all things we hear, like our experiences, we kind of like guide us through that. That's why, I mean, to be honest, I was surprised that y'all like strip tales. I was like, you know, because I don't know,
Yeah,
it was killing, huh?
yeah. That was that was the first time I ever heard something like that. I've never heard something like that.
Yeah, you know, I should hit up Tom Garlic and just tell him, like, you know, like just to pick his brain about his thought process, like what he was thinking when he wrote something that unique. You
Yeah,
know, just like, I mean, I wish I can play Shrimp Tales right now through, so everybody's like, what is Shrimp Tales? You look up Shrimp Tales by Tom Garling if you can find it. I had to go on Amazon and actually buy the album because I couldn't find anywhere online, so I had to buy the album again. I mean, I had the album like several years ago. Yeah, man, you know, just like the more you listen, the more you hear things, the wider your ears will become, and the greater appreciation you have things like Shrimp Tales, because you play Shrimp Tales with someone else. See, me and you, like, we hear differently, and it's nothing wrong with that, you know. But I am glad you enjoyed things. It was like that the first time I heard. I remember the first time I heard Giant Steps. Do you know that tune by
yeah,
John Coltrane?
yeah.
And man, when I heard that tune, it stopped me. I remember I never heard anything like that before in my life. I was in ninth grade, and I bought the two first albums that I bought with my own money. I bought Giant Steps by John Coltrane and Cannonball Alley, you know, Capital Years, and it was it was mind blowing to hear like all the harmonies and just this, you know, it just kind of satisfied your ear in like a different way, like you just never heard, kind of like Shrimp Tales, you know, just like
Yeah,
you hear the writings, like they pair the trombone with the bass, like
yeah,
they have the melody, even though the bass is considered to be like a lower instrument, you know. It's like here, it's like, oh,
yeah.
let's put the bass right here with that, and you know, keep everything else under that, you know. Yeah, man. I mean, I've checked out, like right now, even right now with all this going on, I'm pretty sure I average an hour and a half of listening to music every day, uninterrupted, you know. That's how I do. Some people, you know, they choose I should exercise more, but they, you know, they choose to get out and exercise, choose to do different things, but just, you know, sorry to ramble so much, but yeah.
No, you straight. Okay, so my next question is in the like the music life, like the music industry. So I'm not talking about like, you know, Beyonce. Well, I am talking about them, but a musician is a musician. So like we talking about all genres right now. We talking about you know, hip hop, rap, talking about like any musician. So in the musician world right now, what do you think the older musicians are lacking and how do you think it's affecting the younger musicians?
So you're asking what the older musicians are lacking is in the music industry?
Like, yeah, like what do you think the older musicians can do to help the younger
Um, well, I think it may go the other way, you know. I think that younger musicians should actually seek out the older musicians personally, you know. And I mean, I think most, if not all, of the older musicians that I know, like in the industry, you know, like I see
musicians?
someone that I like what they're doing, and you know, I walk up to them, hi, Mr. or Mrs., you know, or Miss, whatever their last name is, you know, you kind of approach them that way, and you just, you know, ask them questions. And I mean, sometimes the best lessons are you just sit and you listen and you learn, you know. I mean, just even when I was a younger musician, and some of my heroes, like the local heroes, you know, I would beg my mom, my dad, drop me off at some of those gigs, check them out, listen to what they were playing, and if they have time on break, just chat with them and just kind of, you know, absorb the information. Most older musicians I know are very open and welcoming to just giving knowledge, you know. So if there's someone that you like the way they play, or if it's someone in town that everybody's like, I think you should check out, you know, this cat, you know, that cat. I mean, you know, just, you know, you can make an effort, man. You got your license, don't you? Got your driver's license yet?
Not yet.
Not what?
Not
You don't
yet.
have it yet? Come on, man. You gotta get
Not
the
yet.
driver's license. Okay,
I
well,
got a permit. I have a permit, but not a license.
okay, well, when you get your license, you know, you can drive these gigs, you know, ask moms, borrow the car, stop over there and talk to guys. I mean, I've even seen some of them be very vocal about how younger musicians do not reach out to them, and they would like it to happen more. You know, I mean, it's a lot of cat, you know, even Mr. French, you know, Mr. French has talked about that by younger musicians. You still got those sticks Mr. French gave you? You broke them already.
No, I ain't breaking yet. I
Okay.
ain't breaking yet.
Yeah, he's a generous man, and he has a wealth of knowledge that you can definitely you can tap into, and just even you can even like set up some kind of like call him on the phone. Even during this pandemic, man. I mean, I'm older than you, and I'm still taking lessons from my heroes, and I'm still calling people all the time and asking them for knowledge. You know, even now, because it doesn't stop. Like there's no end game. It keeps going. So yeah, I think older musicians, and I know it's not the case for everyone, but they're generally open to giving you the knowledge of just the question that you have. But you kind of you have to seek it out, because even like when I was growing up, me and Darrian, like we had resources that were given to us, but I feel like now you all have even more resources, a lot more
And we
resources.
got YouTube now.
Y'all have cell phones. Do you know we didn't have cell phones, Jason, growing up? We
Y'all
didn't.
probably had cell phones, just not touch screen.
No, we had those bricks, those Nokias, man. The old school Nokias. So I couldn't text. I didn't get my first text message. I was in college, man. My friend Charles Bridges, he sent me a text message. He's like, that was my first time getting one. Can you believe that? You know?
No, I can't believe it. I
So
couldn't
yeah,
answer on the phone.
yeah, man. We had to use thesaurus and dictionaries. We had to use a Dewey Decimal System in the library. So y'all have a lot more resources than we have. We didn't have things you have, but I mean, it's literally at the touch of your fingertips right now, just a resource. But yeah, man, reach out to people, call them, and if you can't get in contact with them, we'll hook you up with people, so you can just get that wealth of knowledge.
Okay. So when you were like younger, um, who were like three musicians that you looked up to?
Younger, like when I first started playing, or when?
Yeah, when you first started playing.
When I first started playing, man, I think I looked up to, if I remember correctly, Cannonball Adderley was like at the top of my list, man. I mean, at the time, and it's funny, I still feel that way now. I feel like there was just like nothing he couldn't do, because I mean, if you want to bop it out, he can bop it out. You want to play some soul, you want to slow it down to a blues at 40 beats a minute, he can milk that. It was just like, his compositions were just very accessible to musicians, and very accessible also to non-musicians, because I mean, if you go check out some of those old Cannonball Adderley, like the live recordings, which a lot of them were, and you'll hear the crowd in the background they went wild for it. He's like, he was a rock star. And I definitely, I looked up Cannonball Adderley. Who were some other musicians I looked up to? Man, I actually looked up to the music of Busta Rhymes a lot, man.
Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, growing up, I really just that sense of rhythm, sense of rhythm, and the way that, just the way that he would use that syncopation, and he just didn't go da 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 da. But you just check out some old, check out some, give me some more, man. Like some of those old school rappers, and they just just like lay it on you, man. And other people were Wu-Tang Clan, man. It's like the three people I looked up. Yeah, Wu-Tang. Look up. Yeah, check out some of the Wu-Tang Clan, man. I mean, the music is rich. The lyrics. I feel like it was just the level of depth that they incorporate in music is something I desire to see in more, rap and hip hop these days. Because now, I mean, and you see, it's just like, it's funny, like you see things change. Like now, like rap's kind of like, rapping with the triplet feel, da 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 da, the Migos, da 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 da, and back then it was just more like that, kind of straightforward, But I mean, the list goes on, man. Those like three people I just remember, I was just like just checking out all this, even Missy Elliott a whole lot, man. Because it was just like, it was so unique. And I love Missy's music because like how sparse things were. Like Missy didn't feel a need, she may take like, just like some like little things like that, but it wasn't like a whole thing like jazz musicians sometimes. So we play those full chords or try to fill all the space. She was very good about her use of space, those old music videos, Hype Williams used to direct all those out. I mean, I loved all that, but I just, was a nerd for it. Still am.
So So like, if you had three people to collab with in the whole entire world, who would they be? With me being number one, you have two other spots. You have two other spots.
All right, let's see. Two other spots. Who would I collab with? Um, Man, if in a perfect world, I would collab with I would love to collab with Kendrick Lamar, man.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, yeah. Do you check him out at all?
Oh yeah, he's the truth.
He is, man. I would love to collab with Kendrick Lamar and who else is somebody what I would love to collab with? I would love to do a collab with Lewis Cole, man. You know the drummer? I don't know if I showed you any of his stuff.
Yeah, I think I remember you showed me some of his stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, I would love to collab with Kendrick Lamar and Lewis Cole and you, obviously, because you're the
Yeah,
first one,
me
man. I
number
got
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You number one, man. I got it. You get big, don't forget about me. Just come back,
Nah.
come back, collect my royalties. Yeah, man. Those musicians, for the most part, I mean, it seems like they're definitely, they're always. I mean, it's a lot of. I don't want to say that other musicians don't, but they're always trying to get to the next thing. Like always, even when money is like not an object, they're still going for it, which is it's like the love of music, just like you love music. Like right now, if you didn't have to pay for anything, which I don't know if you do or not. You claim you got the money, but if you didn't have to pay for the thing, if money not an object, you would still do music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you would. Like you're very passionate about it, man.
So like everybody has like every musician has like a style of playing that they do, that they like, that they like, or that they do. Like some people have like a melodic, type of sound. Some people have like a trashy type of sound, a harsh type of sound. What like type of style or sound do you think that you have or want to get to?
Whew. To be honest, I think I'm still trying to find my voice.
Still trying to find your voice?
Yeah, I'm still trying to find my voice. I'm curious as to there are people who I think they found their voice, and I know a lot of people feel the same way I feel. And you talk to them about it, and they don't really know. They can't describe what their voice is. It sounds like that's more of a thing that's up to like the listener. Like you can tell other people like you sound like this, like, or this is your voice. In my opinion, I don't know if it's up to like the actual user to decide like, oh, this my voice is, or I'm this. It's like if you walk around saying, I'm a great drummer, like that's not up to you. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just like even if you think you're not, like it's like it's up to like everyone else around. It's like say, oh, Jay Swims, yeah, man, that cat, yeah, he's a great musician, yeah. You can't say, I wish I could. I mean, if that's the case, I could just say I'm rich, and I'm still broke. The work. I'm still searching my sound. I mean, I think that the best thing I can do is still definitely take studying seriously, because it doesn't end. It's just like this never ending thing. Like you always going to be learning new things from different people, and it's just like you can always learn something from everybody. Even you listen to what they have to say, and you just kind of pick and pull, from that. And I think that it's just like all your experience and everything combined will give you your sound, your voice. And hopefully you'll keep developing that. It's like very interesting. You brought that up. A lot of people don't make it to that point where they have like this very like distinctive voice, even if what is like you said, whether it's their sound or their tone, or like just melodically, or just whatever the case may be. So the people that I know personally that make it a point, man, I mean, my hat goes off because they just, I'll tell you what Mr. G told me. Actually, we had a conversation about just practicing and everything, because like in school or just grade level, we all have students, our peers, who we thought were just like phenomenal or amazing, but 10 years down the road, none of that matters. What matters is who kept going. Did you keep going? Did you keep pushing through? Did you keep, did you strive for this and that? I'm pretty sure like all of your heroes, you could probably find an old tape of them or something. And some of them, you may be like, oh man, you sound like that in high school? Ooh, ooh, you sad. Like what, but you gotta, it's the people who just, and some people have a giant wake up call, it's like, oh my goodness, like, whoa, like I'm not I'm not where I thought I would be, or well, I'm not where I thought I should be in relation to everyone else around. Like, these people are serious. You have to keep pushing through, and you know, don't get into the game of comparing yourself to people too much. If it's like above like the fundamental level, you know, if it's someone like, oh, I can do all my rudiments. I mean, yeah, you can be like, oh, I need to like work on my rudiments so I can get up there. That's fine, you know, for comparison. But you shouldn't use that, because I mean, we're all going to have our own way of doing things, you know. Like, some people probably can't play as fast. Some people are not chop monsters. Some people are just very tasteful. Some people have finesse. You know, you have to find out your strengths, and you have to like Ben Wendell told me. So you gotta, you know, find out what your superpower is.
Yeah.
You know what's your superpower in music? Do you have a superpower you think you have? What's your superpower? You got one. What is it?
Mine? I don't know. Like, you know, I'm right where you are. I'm still trying to find my voice. I'm really trying to figure out, okay, what do I feel like? You know?
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
just trying to find my voice.
That's a good answer, man. I think that my superpower, and I think your superpower also, is that I think that we both listen. So that's actually a very important superpower to have, man. Because if you listen and you keep on, I mean, we all know a lot of people who the older they get, their ears start to shut off, and they're like not open to new ideas, and you know, they get complacent. They're just like, all right, I'm not listening anymore. Like, I've made it in my mind. And I'm going to keep trucking with this whole thing. You know, it's like some people just don't grow, but you just have to always, and it doesn't even just apply to music, you know? It's just, listen, like, if you find out somebody's like, yeah, man, I touched that stove and I burned my hand. It's just like, you should listen to them and understand not to go to that stove and burn your own hand, you know? I've saved myself a lot of grief by listening to people, what they say, their struggles, you know, or their advice. You know, I've definitely, you know, taking into consideration, like, okay, I don't want to mess up some stuff. You got to experience some stuff on your own, definitely, but just make sure that you listen, and you're always open for, you know, new ideas, and you don't get complacent, because that makes for a very boring musician, you know, and just a boring person. Because, you know, you don't want to be we all know people like that, and I hope I never get like this, but, you know, it's like, man, I wish I could like talk to Mr. Johnson about this thing, and they'd be like, nah, bro, you know how he is. Don't do that. You know how he. Man, you already know how he is, you know, and I don't want to ever, you know, come across as like, you know, I'm stern, but, you know, I'll listen if y'all got some, and you know this, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So
So,
just,
oh, you could finish now too.
no, I'm just saying, just find out what you're good at, acknowledge it, you know, and harness that. But you also need to be self-aware at your weaknesses and like what you're not good at, you know, because I remember in college, I would go to the practice room, and man, everybody would just sound terrible, like terrible. You wouldn't believe, I mean, terrible. Like, they kept working on like this one passage, you know. But check this out. Those are the best musicians in the school, because they worked on what they were not good at. And they sewed up all those loose ends, you know. They all those fundamentals, like for you, you know, it'd be like, you know, grooves, rudiments, shell voices on piano, like you get all this stuff, you get that, and then, you know, you can build on that, because it's I mean, it's like the thing, like you build a house and your foundation is a piece of paper or something, you know, it's gonna crumble. Like everything that you try to build off that's gonna crumble. You have to have a strong foundation, and just be self-aware, like what you're not good at, and push, you know, work on those things.
Yeah. So, with this pandemic, like when it first got here, like, what was your reaction? Like, were you nervous? What was your reaction to it?
I mean, I'm still nervous sometimes, you know.
Still nervous?
Yeah, I mean, I was, of course, I was like concerned about y'all, and like how y'all gonna, because this is tough. This is tough on everybody, and it's not like an adult problem, or it's not like a, you know, this kind of issue. It's just this is, since I've been alive, this is the first time that like something has affected the entire world, almost like, you know, in the same way. I mean, when it first happened, I mean, I think I was in denial, you know. It's like, oh, well, yeah, okay, well, by April, everything should be back normal, because I got some.
That's how I was. Yeah, that's how I was. I was like, it's just a small, you know, flu. Same thing as the flu. But then
Yeah.
people that I knew started dying. I was like,
Yeah, it's I mean it's tough on everybody, man, and in different ways, because it just, I think it affects you like the way you live in your life. For me, it's tough because it's like I can't hang with students and teach. I can't do that. And I think the first week of it all was the toughest. You remember when I think our last day of school, like that, when we didn't even know it was our last day of school that day?
yeah,
It's like the 14th or something of March. And that whole week, man, it's just like gig after gig after gig and after like festival, everything like it was slowly being, the rugs like being ripped from under me. So it was, it was definitely, it's kind of troubling to think that it was like, I think everyone was going to have a good year this year. When I heard, everybody was like, I got these things coming up. And so I think the stress of it all is just not knowing how it's going to end, but check this out. As far as like musicians, I mean, we're used to improvising, we're used to finding our way out of bad spots, so most musicians I know are, I'm not gonna say at peace about it, but they're handling it a different kind of way, because they're just used to always improvising, being creative. Of course we all worry about things like, finance and like in that part of it. And I mean, my advice to you would be, when you get older, to just be aware of your finances, because man, this is a strange time in my opinion, because it exposed a lot of things about the musicians just kind of around me, and just others like all over the world. And you see people, they got the Armani on, they driving the Lexus, they got 2-story house, and you'd be very surprised at how bad off they are trying to prove to everyone that they have money.
yeah,
So my advice is don't go broke trying to prove to people that you have money. That's just like, that's not a good thing. So I mean, when I first moved here, I had to New Orleans, I had a house. And as time went on, you just start to understand, it's like, okay, do I want to have like, this nice fancy house, that I can kind of, do these things, or do I just want to do I want to lower my overhead? You know what overhead is?
no,
It's just, I mean, to simplify it, it's saying like, total per month, like what are your expenses?
okay,
Yeah, so like, do you have a car note? Do you have this? Do you have that? So the lower you keep your overhead, never remember this, it's never about how much you make, it's about how much you spend. So if you lower your overhead, that's going to free up your money, So during the pandemic, when I see people kind of panicking about the money part, I'm just like, okay, I'm grateful that I lowered my overhead. So I have more, like can have a savings account. And, I mean, the car I have, mark my words, I'm going to drive the car until the wheels fall off. Do you hear me? I'm going to drive. Y'all going to have flying cars. I'm going to still have my same car. You know why? Because my car is paid off, the car is paid off. I downsized, like everything else, so I can have more money to free up. And like, I mean, and to be bound financially is a really stressful thing, because it affects all components of your life. You can't do the things you want to do. I mean, you won't even be able just to handle like basic maintenance of like, just imagine not being able to buy drumsticks or drum heads, because,
that would be miserable.
yeah, like you not buying a drum head because you drive around in a Lexus and you have a 2-story house. That's ridiculous. you know, you don't want to, end up being like, okay, I got this Maserati, I got these things, and then your house is worth less than the cars in your driveway, kind of deal. So just be aware of, about your overhead. That's my advice, because I mean, as a musician, unless you're touring all the time, you're not going to come out more than likely extremely wealthy. So just yeah, be aware of, not to be a Debbie Downer, but just be aware of your finance and your overhead. That's my advice about that part. So, I mean, that was my saving grace. Like, I didn't really have to stress about that. Then people are just generous all the way around. It's like, people checking in. It's like, do you need any help? Are you good? You got everything you need? And if I don't, they'd be like, yo, how can I help you? And they always say, look for the helpers. And there's a lot of helpers around, and just and spread the generosity. If you see someone else that needs help, and you can help them in some way, even if it's not financially, spread the wealth some kind of way, while being safe.
While being safe.
Yes, while, especially now, while being safe. Don't forget that we are in the middle of something, so just be aware that just while you're doing those things, just to continue to be as safe as you can, like I always tell y'all.
Yeah. So I had another question. If some way somehow you weren't able to play saxophone anymore, what other instrument would you play or want to play?
This has actually happened to a lot of people I know.
Bro?
Yeah, straight up. They get and it's a cat I know that played for man, I can't remember which band it was, but I mean they would just take like these 15-minute solos sometimes, 10 to 15 minutes straight, doing shows and plays. I mean, it was just, he just went, so he wore his mouth, and he developed TMJ so badly that he couldn't play saxophone like he wanted to. It happens all the time. Trumpet players, I know a lot of trumpet players that can't play. Most people I know, and this, I have the same answer. If anything, if I could just shift it over, I would need to play bass, or piano. Those would be my, bass and piano. Those would be my two instruments I would play. And like during this time, it's giving me the time I'm taking advantage of this break by practicing and revisiting some of those things, because it can happen, It can always, like, so if you couldn't play drums, what would you play?
Bass or piano.
Bass and piano, right? Bass, bass and piano. So yeah, just and you kind of want to. Thing is, when you start learning different instruments, you start having appreciation for those instruments even more so. Like I'm playing piano or bass, I have an appreciation for, and you can hear things that's going to help you out, as far as your compositions. But I highly encourage everyone to play piano growing up. If there was one thing I could have done, like when I was younger, it would have been, I wish I would have taken piano so much more seriously. It's like,
you just answered my next question.
You just answered
my next question.
What was the question?
If you could talk to younger Scott, what's one thing that you wish you could have done when you were younger?
Oh man, I can say things like practice on piano. I can say things like, be aware to take care of your body better, exercise, eat correctly, don't eat pizza all the time and, all this stuff. But, it's weird because like you say those things and it's gonna, you ever seen the butterfly effect? Heard about it?
Yeah.
You do one thing. It was I forget the cartoon. I'm gonna go with either South Park or The Simpsons, because it seems like they've done everything. But it was some cartoon where they had a time machine. They like went back in time and they were like, hey, don't touch anything. If you touch one thing, it's going to alter the future of like the entire world. And I think Homer like picked up a blade of grass and they went back into the future, like dinosaurs or whatever. It was crazy. But I mean, without changing my current situation now, because I'm extremely happy, I would practice on piano more, and and just be more aware about just things like health. It's a big thing for me, because I mean, your greatest wealth is your health. Your health is your greatest wealth.
Yeah. So have you ever toured before, like with a band or an artist?
Mm-hmm.
Who was the band or the artist?
I've toured with a few people. I mean, try to think of the most recent tour I've done before this happened. I think it was Antoine DL. Yeah,
I've heard your name.
Yeah, he's an incredible vocalist. He's an even more amazing band leader. Did you have anything specific to say about tours? It's themselves, or you're just curious about them?
No, I was just curious.
Have you ever toured before?
I want to get there, but I haven't made it there.
You will. And touring is, touring is, I think the first time touring will take you places that you probably never thought that you can go. I mean, check this out. You've been to Cuba before me. You've been to Cuba before a lot of people I know. And what took you there? Your music. Your music took you to Cuba. I'm telling you, man, I fantasize. I've always wanted to go to Cuba, and hang out, and see the architecture, see the cars, and just the community that the people have that I don't see, you don't see anywhere else. But like in Cuba, not to say that other places don't have community, but they have a different type of community there,
Yeah.
Touring, and touring can be grueling. The hours, like you wake up, you wake up at 4 a.m. That's when your alarm is. Lobby calls at 5. Got to be down there at 5 a.m. You drive long distance, get on the airport, get on the airplane, fly, deboard, and then you got to go straight to the hotel. You wait around, check your bags, go to sound check, eat. So it's like nonstop. So some of the places I've visited, since I didn't have a lot of time to kind of explore, I definitely want to go back and when everything is safe again and go back and visit some of these places. I mean, it's man, you have no clue how large the world is until you get out there and start exploring, in different countries. To just look at. I mean, I think the most magical experience I've had was when they took us to South Africa.
South Africa.
And check this out. That was my second plane ride in my life. I was like terrified of riding on planes. My first plane ride out. I was 24 and I went to Chicago, and then those were first. And the second was I went to South Africa and toured with Delphia Marcellus, this big band, and it was incredible, man. It's like you get off the plane and you look at people, like you're at the source, and to have somebody look at you who's from the source and say welcome home, it's like it's powerful, man. And the sense of community over there was unbelievable. It was just they were grateful just to be alive. It's magical, man. And seeing stuff like that and just seeing more of the world makes you a more worldly person, and it opens your mind, and you don't get stifled into a bubble. And we're at an advantage because most times that when we tour, we're going to get either all of our expenses are taken care of, or we're going to get paid to do it, So just keep practicing, man. I mean, the music, it will. Man, it's just stuff will happen that you just never imagined was possible, especially like with the touring and visiting places, You look at you got a passport, don't you?
Yeah, I got a passport.
Bro, ask me how old it was when I got my first passport.
How old?
30.
30?
Yeah, I was 30 years old when I got my first passport, and this was on. I mean, I still have it now, but yeah, I mean, I got the passport and I was in line. They took my picture, and when it came and I looked at it, opened it, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I never thought that this would be possible when I was growing up, to just travel the world, and see all these things. Touring is great. I mean, yeah, touring, the part that's kind of troubling is just like, the wake up calls, like it can be grueling, but aside from that, man, it's an experience like none other.
Okay. So, would you rather tour or would you rather teach?
Can I do both?
You can do both, but if you had to choose one. If I
had to choose one, man.
I'm not talking about at Warren Eastman, because we get crazy sometimes. If you could teach anywhere you want to teach or tour with anybody you wanted to tour with, who would it be? Or what would it be?
That's a tough one, because it's like I'm just trying to imagine, like, would I rather do like one or the other? And man, I actually can't answer you, because I want to do both. I couldn't see myself like only touring, because I mean, even with only touring, man, that takes a toll on everything, because it's like you can't. It becomes difficult to maintain relationships, friendships, and just to have like some sort of stability. Because I know like some touring musicians, when they come home, they almost kiss the ground when they get back. They're like, I'm so happy to be home after being away for 3 months or being away for 4 months. So we got friends that are on cruise ships, and when they come home, man, they are like kissing the ground because they're like extremely happy. I mean, I would love, in a perfect world, to continue to do both of them, and sky's the limit. It's just when I moved here, I mean, I'll say this about things that you may not have thought were possible. So who are some of your favorite artists that you would love to play with?
Kendrick Lamar, like you said, anytime or right now?
Oh, right now.
Right now, I would like to travel with. Does Winton? He travels.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah,
what? I mean, I think not as much now, but I think they still travel some.
I would love to do it with him. And if I have to pick another artist, I'm a big R&B fan, so I would do Babyface.
Who?
Babyface,
Oh,
Skinny
Babyface.
Babyface. Ever?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep,
Babyface. Okay, okay, that's what I thought. I was like, wait, did you say Babyface? Okay, yeah, man.
definitely.
I'll say this about that. It's when you will be very surprised at how accessible your heroes are. Keep that in mind. When I was back in Mississippi, and I had all these heroes, musically speaking, that it never dawned on me, it never crossed my mind that I could even, meet them or chat with them or play with them. And when I moved here, it's just like that gap was shortened, a lot more as far as just like heroes of people reaching out, being accessible. Um, if you keep doing what you're doing and you have a good attitude and, people like you, and when I say like, I mean like, you're like, you're a decent person. You'll be surprised, man. Sky's the limit. You keep practicing. I mark my words, man. I can, one of these days, you're going to be on one of those Zildjian, those VF jams, with
That's the goal.
yeah, Spud and all in it. Like, all right, welcome, Zildjian's Jason Williams. And you walk out, he's like, oh, got your Gucci scarf on, playing. It's like, yeah, man, I made it. I want to thank Mr. Johnson. I owe him everything. No, I'm playing. I mean, man, sky's the limit. If you keep doing it, you're gonna in life. When you keep going, you have to remember, like Mr. G said, keep going though, keep going and keep pressing, and you're gonna meet people you never thought. I'm gonna see you gonna be taking pictures. You be like, yeah, man, I was at a gig. You're gonna be doing that thing, man. Man, you won't believe who came to my gig. And we chilling like Will Smith right there. You may have like Dave Chappelle, D.L. Hewlett, somebody like right behind them. It's like, yo, check this out, man. I got a chance to blah blah blah. And at a lot of my gigs, man, like celebrities will come in there and you're very surprised. And they're just, they're just great for being in New Orleans. You get to chat with them. And it's because you were on that gig. Like your music brought you to the point of like meeting that celebrity, Yeah. So just, yeah, man, keep pushing it and keep working on those shell voicings.
Shell voicing.
I'm going to follow up with that, by the way. Now that you reminded me, you got a keyboard. Now I found you got Zoom, so we can do some online lessons,
Yeah.
We can work there. I'm looking at the time. I think they're probably about to wind down. Just pitch. Do you have any more questions, anything?
No, I'm good.
You good?
Yes, sir.
I'm looking over this thing just in case to see if
you guys are wrapping up, I'm gonna pop back in.
All right, Mr. G, what's up, man?
No, so can I ask a couple questions? Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So Scott, for again, anyone watching who's not familiar with Scott and his work, and Scott is an amazing musician, saxophone player, composer, arranger, and it really is like a jack of all trades. And something that really impresses me about you is you're like also a phenomenal teacher. And I love watching you teach and like watching you interact with the kids and everything like that. And it seems like the students have like a mutual respect for you too. But can you talk about how being an educator has influenced your perspective on music, and also how that contributes to just kind of contributes to like your overall life and well-being and how that touches you?
Man, I think being an educator, I think it centers me, a whole lot as far as, because it even when I'm being lazy about it, it kind of forces me to have like routine. It reinforces things about being responsible, because I mean, you're responsible for like a lot of other people besides yourself, that kind of thing. And man, in teaching students, it's always something. I'm just like, when I'm trying to show them something, like, oh, I didn't know we can do it this way. So like, it's this thing, like you're learning from them. About that. You're learning from them as well as, trying to give them the information. They're giving information right back to you. So I think being an educator gives me a different perspective on I'm grateful that it always keeps me aligned, like, just being kind of pushing through, following through, being professional. They kind of like, I can just skip that over to just being like a musician, Yeah, man. I mean, it's I'm grateful to be an educator because I'm just continuously learning. It's just like a never ending thing, you know, and I can just apply that to, you know, being a musician, apply it to everyday life skills, you know?
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is when you get to teach, you get to learn something twice. And I feel like that's always, you know, like you learn it first and then it's being able to communicate that to someone else.
Yeah.
Requires like another level of understanding and mastery to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for, it's gonna be a two-part question, but do you have any advice for teachers on how to better connect with students and convey information? And then also, do you have any advice for students to better receive and get information?
Well, my advice to teachers is that, or just to say that all students won't learn the same, just like we're all not built the same, we're all individuals. And to open your ears and just listen to what they're saying and try to, you know, just work on like how you convey the information, because every student is going to be different at the way they learn. And you can have the same information, but you know, it may even come down to just something as simple as nomenclature, you know? Because if you say something this way, like I'm from the South, I mean, it could be like, I'm from the South, I like to say make groceries, you know? I make groceries, that's what I do. Because, you know, you have a student from somewhere else, Jersey, they may say, we buy groceries. Or like, just like a shopping cart buggy, just even something like as simple as that, just like understand that you have the information, but you have to figure out, once the better you get to know your students, like how to convey it, how to get it through to them, you know, because everybody doesn't learn the same. And, you know, with the students, I mean, I would just say, you know, assume that the teacher has good information to give you and just be receptive of it. And, you know, don't try to buck or do the thing like it's a conspiracy. It's like, wait a minute, are they trying to, you know, just relax and just trust that they're doing the right thing. They're trying to give you information, just receive it. And you have to trust in the process that when they say that they're going to, you know, do something this way or do something that way, just try out a little bit. You'd be surprised. You know, they wouldn't be saying it if, you know, they didn't know what they were talking about, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a hard hurdle to bridge, to like building that trust between the teacher and the student and the teacher. And definitely it's hard sometimes to get cats to try new things that maybe they're not so comfortable with. I just want to ask one more question before we get Darrian back. But then can you talk about also, you were mentioning about the importance of keeping your body and your health together. And, you know, I know you've had your battles with, you know, health issues and things like that. And can you talk about how that experience has informed the way you live your life now? And also, can you talk about the importance of taking care of your body and being in good health?
It's, like I said, I keep saying, it's like an old superintendent of mine said, your health is your greatest wealth. And there are, unfortunately now more so than ever, there are a lot of things out of our control dealing with health. Because I mean, if you look at, like, we're not even eating the same food that our parents ate, you know? Just the digestive enzymes in our gut is like not the same as like our parents. So just, you know, don't beat yourself up about, I think it's more not about body composition, but more about the health part of it, you know? And you know, don't be, you know, sitting around playing video games all day. Just get out, move, exercise, you know, don't eat the fried. And I know it's very difficult, like, especially a place like New Orleans, because I mean, people come here for the food, you know, the fried fatty foods, you know, just be mindful of that. Just, you know, educate yourself on, you know, like nuts and grains, water, you know, staying hydrated, just simple things like that. But if the earlier you start doing it, those kind of things, you build those habits, you know. And I know that with my health battles, just, man, the thing that I kept thinking about over and over, I just started thinking about like all the things I regret not taking advantage of and not doing, you know. It's like, man, I meant to call this person, ask this person about this specific thing, dealing with blah, 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 you know, some techie thing about, I didn't do it. I should have spent more time with these people. I didn't do it. You know, I should have just taken more risks growing up and not been afraid and not questioned my, you know, ability. And I didn't do it. So coming out of the health thing twice, you know, was it Jason logged out?
Yeah, we'll get it back up if he comes back on.
Okay. So, you know, just even with the health battles, going back into it, I'm just like, okay, I have to approach life a little bit different, because like I've been faced with my own mortality, you know, and it was frightening. Because, you know, it's the thing, you know, it's like you're going to be in it alone. So you just want to make sure that you take advantage of the life you're given. Because like Delfield said, we're given a finite amount of time. It's not infinite. And, you know, being with, you know, the health issue, you just like, you know, that more than ever, it's like, okay, this is, if I get a second chance, I can't drag. I have to take full advantage of just the life, you know, and it gives you the opportunity to slow down and just appreciate the simple things in life, you know, man. I love just sitting outside and just like listening to the sounds outside, man. I love doing that now. And I didn't really care to do that a whole lot when I was, you know, not sick, before I was sick, you know, just, you know, take advantage of the simple things, take risks within reason, and just enjoy life, man. It's just life, you know. Just enjoy yourself.
Look, man, one more question before we get out of here. Earlier you mentioned, you know, the rigors of touring and balancing, and this is for you, Jason, pay attention to this, like balancing your personal life with your working life. And so what are some things that you do to keep that balance? Because a lot of people, they don't pay attention to their kids, or they get divorced, or they don't pay attention to their parents or their friends. And so all of those types of relationships and friendships dissolve in the pursuit of playing music.
Yeah. I mean, I think I learned that most, even, it was actually not touring. I think I learned that most when I took my first job as a band director in Mississippi. And I just didn't have, I didn't make time to do those things, you know. And slowly, before I knew it, like a lot of relationships and friendships and stuff, it's like things just slowly started to dissolve. And I think that was the wake up call for me, because when you're a musician, you have to be aware of, you know, and that's why sometimes I like to keep a paper calendar also, so I can like look at it. You know, when you start plugging those things in, if you get super overloaded, just say, okay, when am I going to make time to, you know, get a chance to talk to my parents, or, you know, make time to FaceTime my kids. And, you know, even like going back to Delph's band, like a lot of guys in Delph's band, like we're on the road, we're in the van going from one place to another place. They'll pull their phones out, they're FaceTiming with their kids in the van just to make sure they have the connection with them. And I'm not gonna name who this is, but I even saw a cat, you know, doing like the filters with like the bunny ears and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying, with these kids, you know, just to connect with them. I mean, you have to make the time, because it's, I mean, at the end of the day, like this, you know, it's important to keep those relationships and friendships going. It's extremely important. And you have to find out, you have to be aware, and you have to make time, even if it's in a van going from this place to that place. Just make the effort to do it.
I really appreciate that you use the word make instead of find. And I think that like a lot of young musicians, they have these battles where they're like, I can't find the time to practice, or I can't find the time to call this person, or I can't find the time to exercise. And when you're looking for the time, you're never going to find it. And I believe that you have to make the time. You got to make the time to practice. You got to make the time to call your people that you love. And you got to make the time to exercise. So I really appreciate that you practice and preach that message. And I hope that everyone watching can appreciate that, you know, someone like Mr. Johnson, you know, you're not where you are because chance happened. I mean, you know, we're all blessed with a certain level of community and a certain level of, you know, we all have blessings in our life that are above and beyond what we've done. But in addition to that, you know, Scott, you know, you're a wonderful example of like, you know, creating your life and creating your art and making time for all those things that are important. So I really appreciate that message.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate y'all, bro.
Thank
you.
Man.
I want to say, man, Jason, I'm going to say this in front of everyone. I've known Jason since he was a freshman in high school, and Jason was the quiet kid in class who said like 2 words, but you know, always played the SHIT out of the drums, and he was always listening. And man, I am so blown away and so happy to, man, I think you conducted yourself today with such a high level of integrity and wisdom, and really, man, you represented yourself in such an amazing way, man. And it really, man, it makes me so happy to see that and be, you know, to have been able to see your growth as a person over the years. And I know you got a bright future ahead of you. And I hope that, you know, man, I hope that, you know, I can continue being part of that. And I know Scott feels the same way. And you know, we're all here for you and whatever you need.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Yeah, bro. We got your back, man. We got your back, bro. Anything you need, man, you have all of our contact info. Just reach out and hit us up, man. We got your back. I promise you. All right.
All right.
And also to Scott, man, dude, you're the man. Man, I love you so much, and I'm so happy to have you, man, and have you as a friend, and also on board with our program here. You know, Scott's been our first teacher. He's been here since the beginning, and you know, man, he's again, man, just an inspirational musician, inspirational teacher, and just a really amazing person. So thank you, Scott, for joining us. Thank you, Jason.
Thank y'all, man. Much love.
Thank you.
Everyone watching, this is our last live stream of our summer camp. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you also for supporting the camp. If you guys have enjoyed the programming and believe in, you know, what our mission here at the camp and providing, you know, quality music education, also exposing young people to the music industry. And as you can see, what, you know, Mr. Johnson and Jason have, you know, again, mentorship, the value of, again, people giving back, and one day Jason's going to be in the same position where one day you're going to be a teacher and you're going to be having a conversation with a young student, and you're going to be telling everyone the things that you learned. So I'm so happy to have you guys, and thank you all for watching. Thank you to Darrian, and we'll catch you guys next year with some more programming, and hopefully we'll be able to meet in person and have our 5th year of camp.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Thank y'all.
Thank
Y'all have a
y'all.
great day. Catch y'all later.
All right, catch y'all soon. Okay.